Holla. Jesus, breathe. So I'll give it just a couple of seconds for people to start coming into the room. Anyway, so today I don't really have much to talk about. I do want to come on and give everybody an update on what's going on with the GoFundMe that we all started the other day. Hi, Zia Boo. I miss you. How are you doing? It's kind of early for me to go live, but I think you guys are late to me being a late person. So I'm trying to come on early because I'm a little tired and I have to go to court tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first day of the case for my fiance. So we go tomorrow. So I'm gonna come on just for a little while just to be able to update you guys on some information that we have. Anyway, so we decided to start a GoFundMe. I think it was 2 days ago. What's today? Monday. So we started the GoFundMe 2 days ago. We are sitting at $255. Hi, Nine. How are you doing, honey? How have you been? Hi, Jojo. Yay. So we're sitting at $255 that we have raised. And that's just coming from the people that are on this YouTube page or listen to my stream. Me and another one of our lovely followers / she's an admin of mine in my Facebook, or she's a mod in one of my Facebook groups for Kenneka. We actually were able to speak to somebody from Andre's team from the Love Movement. So that's what they're going by. It's not the freedom fighters that are behind the protest in DC. It's the Love Movement that's behind the protest in DC. So we were able to talk to them. Like I explained to you guys the other day, I basically wanted to reach out to them to let them know that the money that we raise is going to go towards the DC trip. And they were okay with it. They did explain to me that there are a lot of GoFundMe accounts that have been opened up fraudulently, where people are opening up GoFundMe accounts for the DC trip and basically taking the money. So they have been having to track down those GoFundMe accounts and flag them. But unfortunately, by that time, it's too late, and that money that people has donated is lost and gone. So from what I took from the conversation that I had with Andre's people, it's kind of been a little difficult for them. However, they do have all the permits in place. All the legalities are taken care of. So it'll be a safe and successful protest in DC. I did let them know that I would keep them up to date with the money that we had raised, just so that they can be in the loop. They advised me that they were very grateful that we were raising money, and that we're able to spend that money as we see fit. I did let them know, however, that we just wanted to stay in the loop. So if it was something that they were missing or money that they needed, just to let us know. And we would use that money to either help pay for the difference, or we'll use that money to supply water, food, snacks, etc. If we're able to raise enough money, then we can do other things with it collectively as a group. We can all discuss that, what we see fit to do with the money. I do think it's very important that we start to come up with a solid plan. I did let them know that we're more focused on wanting to provide the evidence as far as getting the case reopened. So I know that from what I showed you guys the other day, somebody sent a report with some facts and article references, and where we can reference the information to be able to show them what's right and what's wrong, as well as when we get down there and we're able to be in front of Tereasa to provide her with some of this information. For example, the one form that we looked at the other day where it showed us that Kenneka's lungs had collapsed. That's one of the big things that she needs to be aware of if she's not already aware of it. It's just situations like that. Hi, her beautiful. Hi, Joy. I said hi, Joy already. Hi, El Boogie. Hi, guys. Hi, Trey. Hi, everybody. So I kind of just wanted to make this conversation that we have today as positive as possible, because for the last few days, it's just really draining when you are, when you're a YouTuber, you get alerts about everything and you get 12,000 messages, 50,000 emails, text messages. People call my cell phone at 3:30, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to tell me something that they found about the Kenneka case. It can be very tiresome. And it's even more stressful when it's so many people who are throwing so much negative stuff out in the air. It's not even really about them or trying to point fingers at them or make them look like bad people, because at the end of the day, they're going to have their own opinion, and opinions are fine. The problem comes in when the opinion that you're pushing into the atmosphere is it's pushing people away. It's making people not want to be so quick to ask for justice, because the world or these people are making people believe that this woman, Tereasa Martin, killed her own daughter. People don't want to be involved in stuff like that. So it's very stressful and it's very hard and it's really unfair. Carolyn said, are the freedom fighters going? So Carolyn, don't quote me on this. I'm going to look into it because I believe the answer originally changed. Originally, the freedom fighters were going to DC. From what I have heard after what happened with the interview and the arguments that have spewed, from what I know, I don't believe the freedom fighters are going. But then again, don't quote me. I don't want to start any rumors. I know that when I listened to Jedediah's response, he basically said he's considering changing what their plans were, and I believe the original plan was for them to go and support the DC movement. But at this point, I don't believe that they are going to DC. I know that there are some, I believe P. Rico and a couple of other people from Chicago are going to go, but it's not really this big freedom fighter movement that's going to go out to DC. It's not even the freedom fighters that's putting it on. It's the love movement. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Mel. Honey Bunny. Hi, Vim. Hi, Bernadette. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Jamin. Hi, Trey. Yes, they found Jedediah. They found him a couple of hours later. I really didn't get too invested into that story because I think yesterday it was just like an epiphany. Like, it's like so many people want the light to be on them and everybody is making it about me. Like, well, I went down here, I did this, I did that, and we did this, and we did that, and, we did this, and we did that, and we did this. And all I'm trying to explain to people is, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all of these other real freedom fighters, they didn't complain about things like that. Like, they got their hands dirty. Forget hands dirty. They lost their lives fighting for freedom. So people get tired of hearing the whining and the crying and what I've done and what we did and what we didn't have to do. Because at the end of the day, my personal opinion is nobody asked you guys to sign up to be freedom fighters. Nobody asked you guys to sign up to go out there and protest. Nobody asked you guys to go out there and support Tereasa Martin. That is something that you wanted to do. That is a passion that you had within yourself. That is something that you decided that you wanted to get up and support. So at the end of the day, arrest being made, or, you know, people going to jail, or people having to fight cases, it's really something that you put on yourself. You know, if I decide to go down to DC, not even if I'm going down to DC, if I go down to DC and I protest and I get arrested, I refuse, or I dare myself get on my live stream and complain about being arrested, because I made the conscious decision to get in that plane, on that plane, fly to DC and participate in this protest. And because I'm fighting for justice, anything is possible. Anything is possible. We can get beat up. We can get maced. We can get water hosed. We can get bit by a dog. We can be in DC, and God forbid somebody decides to commit a threat. We can go to jail. It's something that I decided that I wanted to do. It's something that I decided that I wanted to be passionate about and I wanted to support. So the outcome, the only person that can suffer for the outcome is myself, because I made the conscious decision. So I really didn't get into the whole Jedediah case. I really didn't. Like, it was just, it's so draining when it feels like you're going up against the world, because it's sad that all these people are starting to believe all of these things that are being said, and everybody has their own mindset and their own theory. And I really feel so bad for Tereasa Martin. Like, I feel so bad for her, because I can only imagine what it's like to have to deal with somebody that you love being taken away from you unexpectedly. Your daughter, you know, your daughter is at home one moment, and, you know, you're probably joking and playing around with her. You're probably going off on her about not doing the dishes, or maybe you yelled at her because she goes out all the time, or, you know, we don't know how that conversation ended before Kenneka left that house. You know, we don't know if that was a good conversation or a bad conversation. But what I can tell you is that she didn't expect for her daughter not to make it home. She didn't expect to get a phone call saying that her daughter was missing. And she damn sure didn't expect, when she got a phone call saying that her daughter was missing, she surely didn't expect that the next outcome was going to be that her daughter was in a freezer dead. Absolutely not. You know, so when I listen to these stories and I hear people accusing her of being the type of woman that she is, or I hear, you know, I heard today, I finally got to listen to that one guy, you know, that man, the other man, I finally got to listen to him, and I got to listen to him put his whole theory in a nutshell. And it's sad to hear people, you know, on their YouTube pages talking about how this girl has been molested. You know, oh, Kenneka was molested. She was, you know, and this is all a plot and a plan, and they've been plotting this and planning this. Where is the information coming from that this girl was sexually assaulted by somebody? Where is the information coming from that she was molested? Where is it coming from? Like, where, you know, I was just on Facebook a little while ago, and, you know, respectfully, when I see YouTubers go live, I try to wait for them to go off before I go on, so that, you know, our viewers can across the board be able to listen to everybody. So I'm like, okay, John's on, so I'll go ahead and go through Facebook, and, you know, somebody's in a room and they asked a question about the Eugene Walker person. And it was a simple question. And somebody said, does anybody have the information on the Eugene Walker case? And this lady jumps onto the post and says, yeah. And she posts a YouTube article. So I click on the YouTube link, and the link is talking about how the Eugene Walker person was involved in the Kenneka Jenkins case. So I came back on and I said, that's not true. This person, Eugene Walker, went and picked up, the Jamel person went and picked up the Eugenia Walker person. In the middle of the night, he was drinking at home. He is transgender. He's drinking at home. He goes and picks up his friend. On the way to picking her up, or once he picks her up and they get in the car, not even that long after picking this girl up, they get in a car accident. The girl is ejected from the car and she dies. Person is now attached to the Tereasa Martin case, the Kenneka Jenkins case. And that quick, we've now dragged somebody else into it to run through the mud, whose family can't even mourn their daughter dying. Their family can't even mourn or get on Facebook without seeing somebody recreate a obituary, or labeling this person as being a part of the Crowne Plaza conspiracy. It's sad. Like, it's really sad. And I said, you know, it's really unfair that you would put this information on here, this correct information, and now it's another young girl's family who can't even mourn. Well, it's not incorrect. This is the true information. And no problem. We'll provide me with the correct information so that I can go look at it, because I haven't seen anything stating that this girl was leaving the Crowne Plaza or was at the Crowne Plaza, and they like completely deleted my whole comment. Like they just deleted the whole post. Well, yeah, of course, because you have to call people out on their BS. And I apologize that for the last couple of days it has come off as if the room has been so messy. I lost a lot of followers, and that's fine. And I apologize that if it came off very messy, but you have to understand you can't get to the core of the problem if the yolk, if everything around it is discombobulated. You can't get a solution, because every day when you log on to get new information or to look to see what the update is, you're being kicked back 10 steps back. And now you're like, okay, wait, well, now I got to go through this. Like, that's what it feels like when you are somebody who is trying to provide the correct information. Every day when you wake up, it's 15,000 new things that have been invented that you have to dig through, and that's pushing you 10 steps back instead of continuing to move forward. We've all seen the tapes, we've all seen the videos, we have all, taken the time to read the narratives, we have all taken the time to read the case. I don't understand how people are still coming up with the videos of, oh, did you see, and look, they're walking through the kitchen and they're doing this, and it's like we're still 3-4 weeks back. When are we going to move forward? When are we going to step forward and say, okay, this is what I think happened. Now what can I do, or what needs to be done to solve the problem? Everybody has a theory, but nobody is talking about an outcome, or a positive outcome at that. If what you believe is this huge conspiracy theory, at the end of the day, what is going to bring justice to Kenneka based off of what you're saying? Because for some of these people, it sounds like the only way to get justice for Kenneka is to expose or bring down the government. That's crazy to me. Like I say it all the time. You can't even arrest 5 thugs, let alone you're trying to bring Trump's corporation down, the Crowne Plaza Corporation, and all these other big heads. And listen, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. When it comes to conspiracy theory, they would probably be the perfect person for the job. But unfortunately, when you're talking about a little girl who was found in a freezer, whose death is not as complicated as we are making it, it's so far-fetched. Like I just watched a video where, and I said, okay, well, Jasmine, there's nothing new that has come out. So you can continue to talk about the facts. I can do an open panel. People can ask the questions. We can try to debunk the situations. I can look through emails and read the emails and try to go through what everybody is sending me so I can make sense of it and reply back, or we could talk about it in a whole. But when it comes to new information, there is no new information. We all have the same thing sitting in front of us. The question is now, what are you going to do with it? An individual had brought up the picture of Kenneka. I'll bring it up. Give me just a second. Somebody brought up this picture. Okay, 2 people brought it up. One is that man whose name we won't say anymore in here, and then another YouTuber. And the first person is talking about her mouth is photoshopped. The second person was saying that her lip is busted. What I see, and this is just my opinion because I can't fact check this. I can't, there's no way for me to prove it unless I was to call the coroner and ask the coroner, was her lip busted? And I doubt they're going to ask the question, but her lip's not busted. The reason her lips look like this is because she was face down. She had been in a freezer for 21 hours. Her face is applying pressure to the ground. So your nose is going to smush in because you've been in the freezer for 21 hours. You are frozen, as they say, and rigor mortis is now kicking in. So whatever position your body is in, especially if you're face down, your face is going to look distorted because the rigor mortis has kicked in and because your face is now starting to mold, and it's almost like hard clay you take a piece of hard clay and you put it on the ground and you push it down, it's not just going to go automatically down, it's going to slowly go down. So that is what they're looking at. It's not photoshopped, it's this baby's face. She was face down for 21 hours. Okay, of course she's not going to look like the same person that she was yesterday. She was alive and breathing with all of her functions working. It's 21 hours later and we don't know how long she's been dead or what time she died. So yes, her face is going to look distorted. Yes, her body is going to be swollen, because when your body starts to transition, your organs begin to shut down. So it's now like it becomes a poison in your body because it's nowhere for it to release. She didn't urinate on herself. She didn't have a bowel movement. So all of those fluids that should have been released upon her last transition did not release. So she swole up. Bernadette said that's exactly what the mortician stated. I emailed you. Yeah, Bernadette, and I apologize to some of you guys if I haven't got back. Trust me, believe me, I promise you, when I say I read them and I'm like, okay, and then it's like that point sticks in my head. That's why I said, okay, tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to take the time to bring up my emails and we're going to go through the emails collectively together so I can answer some of the questions, or we can discuss some of the things that people feel may have happened or their theories. But it's certain things that I think that, it's only common sense when you're listening to these people that there's a lack of knowledge, not calling them dumb, but it's a lack of knowledge when it has to do with death or a homicide. Like it's a lack of, and at first I was like, maybe I should just let me bring this picture up. And then I said, I have to respect my fiance's family. But if I could show you guys the picture of what my fiance looked like laying in that bed versus what he looked like the day before, you would be like, oh my God, like what? Like, wow. Like, and he was on life support. He was purple blue. You could clearly tell he was beat up. And then it's like there, you can tell the difference. And when you're looking at this, you can clearly tell what it is. Now, yes, there are things on her body that they need to answer for. The bruises, all of the bruises on her back. Why was her lungs collapsed? Why did you withhold the second piece of paper or the third piece of paper of the autopsy? Why did you withhold that? When you released the autopsy report, you should have released that paper as well, because that paper is very important and it signifies a lot and it says a lot. But those are common sense questions. Yeah, people have questions about the thymus, but what I say to everybody else is what you should do is, there are a lot of high profile cases of children who have died, whether it was accidental, murder, gunshot, it doesn't matter how they died. Pull those names up and look at their autopsy report, and you will see that there are some kids about Kenneka's age whose thymus was not able to be identified. So in that case, I don't take that as a, ooh, oh, wow. Well, why is her thymus missing? Oh my God, what happened? Like, oh, Jesus, oh no. Like, it's do the research on it. Like, yes, her thymus should be visible, or anybody's thymus should be visible up until the time they turn 70. At that point, by the time you turn 70, your thymus has now turned into fatty meat, or fat has grown around it. So to us, yeah, we may not understand. It's like, okay, well, why wasn't I identified? That doesn't make any sense. But I would be lying to sit here and tell you that I'm a medical examiner. And I would be lying to sit here to tell you that all questions can be Googled and you're going to get a correct answer. I would be lying to tell you that. But what I do know is that if you take multiple autopsies and you run them together and you look at them and compare them, well, if hers says identified, Trayvon Martin says identified, John Crawford says identified, well, his says that it was there, and his says that it wasn't there, and his says that it was, then it's like, okay, well, obviously there's something that I don't understand about the thymus being unidentified. Okay, so I'm not going to take it as they just snatched it out the girl body and this is an organ. situation. Hi, oh Boogie. This is not Mama J. This is Jasmine. Let me go over some of what you guys are saying. Dakina said I didn't know her lungs collapsed. Wow. Yeah. So I put a video up. I put a video up last night. Give me just a second. So, okay. So I put a video up. There's a file that was in the case, and this is what the file looks like. It's called the Cook County Medical Examiner. It came from the Cook County Medical Examiner. The file number is ME 2017-04241. It's in the case file under investigation or redact, one of those. However, it comes up and it says section of the bilateral lungs show congestion and patchy alactasis. I'm gonna say that's what the word is. Don't quote me. Y'all can talk about me, but again, I'm not a medical examiner. Now, I started with the word bilateral, and I put bilateral lung shows congestion and patchy whatever into Google, and the first thing that pops up is a collapsed lung. So I'm like, okay. So I read into it more. Then I go ahead and I do the research on how it shows that her heart was that there was congestion around her heart. So I'm reading some more. So basically, what it's saying is that now again, I posted that up, and instantly somebody took it and turned it into they turned it into, oh, see, it's an organ harvesting thing. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, because it said, no. What it says is that for it to be the let me look at the word again. Let me see if I could just bring the document up for you guys. Okay, here's the document. So I will show you guys what I'm talking about now. It says bilateral lung shows congestion and patchy whatever. I cannot say the word, guys. And you know that's going to start irritating me and irking me. Then I'm going to have to put it in Google and let Google tell me how to say the word. But anyway, the definition of the word that it's talking about basically shows that your lungs are collapsed. However, with whatever this word is, it's basically saying that it would be due to an obstruction in your airway, which could be suffocation. It could be somebody stuck something down their throat. It's going to cause damage to your lungs as if you were on a ventilator, as if you were on life support. So if somebody was on life support and they were to put this tube down your throat, it's going to cause that type of damage to your lungs. So it could have come from, it couldn't have even necessarily come from somebody hitting her or punching her. It would have had to come from maybe like somebody choked her. Whatever it had to do with, it came from the airway. And because it's almost like closing off your airway and your lungs can expand. So because her lungs couldn't expand, the lung collapsed and her lungs, she wasn't getting any air. So basically she was taking very small baby breaths. Like she couldn't breathe normally. It was baby breaths. So pray to God, hopefully she was not suffering or whatever the case may be. But this is the type of documents that we as YouTube should be looking at and trying to figure out what's going on, not the digging in the closet of Tereasa. Did I just put their names together? Of Tereasa Martin. Not trying to figure out, why her baby daddy or her husband went to jail for murder. I don't understand how that benefits the case or where we're going with that when we bring up that type of information. But there's paperwork that are in these files that we need to really just pay attention to and look at and start trying to figure out what the terminology means. So give me just a second while I go over some of what you guys are saying. Linda said, why isn't video working? Linda, what video? The video I just put up? Because I paused it. Revy says she obviously had frostbite, but that doesn't mean she was cold enough to freeze solid. That was regular. Yeah, Revy, exactly. It doesn't mean that she was frozen solid, but 21 hours rigor mortis has kicked in. Your body has already made the transition. So if you're laying flat, if you're laying down, or something is pressured on you, your face is going to um, form to whatever it's pressed on, whatever is leaning on it. So if she's face down and your face is pressing on this concrete ground, do we not think that her nose is going to be pushed in and her lips are going to be pushed out? That's exactly what that picture looks like to me. Hi, Mookie. Queen said, I agree. Rev, now, is it true that they would most likely had to break her nose to have her lay flat on the stretcher? Wait, let's back up. Is that true that they would most likely have to break her bones to have her lay flat on the stretcher? No. No. Let me not answer that question, but I don't believe so, because I had a family member who was on hospice, and she died in hospice. The coroner came about 6 hours later. Even after the coroner came, he allowed her to stay there for another 3. We were able to walk over to her, feel her, touch her, talk to her, whatever. Not laying on her back flat when she died. She was actually laying on her side, not in the fetal position, but her legs were curled up. And you could plainly tell by touching her hands that rigor mortis was starting to kick in. But when they came in and put her on the stretcher, they just they laid her down, took her legs, pushed her legs down, and put her in the bag. Now, 21 hours later, well, that's the problem, guys. And I know you guys are probably down there talking, but I'm on Queen's question right now, Queen T. I think another thing that is kind of throwing us off is the fact that we're basing it off of 21 hours of where our minds are telling us 21 hours of rigor mortis, right? But we don't know how long Kenneka was dead. There was never a time of death. So our minds are telling us 21 hours because we're counting it from the time that we noticed Kenneka missing, or we're counting it from that 4 o'clock time when when Kenneka was missing. We're starting it from that 4 o'clock dot. We don't know how long Kenneka was in there dead. We don't know if Kenneka could only been dead for an hour. And she could have been gone for 3-4 hours and rigor mortis hadn't fully kicked in. So at that point, we don't know, how stiff her body was, how much rigor mortis had kicked in. We don't know how long she was dead. We don't know how long she was in there. We don't know any of that. All of our assumptions are being based off of the time frames that they're giving us. But there's one key factor to this whole case that nobody's releasing to us. The police haven't released it. The coroner hasn't released it. The medical examiner hasn't released it. Nobody has given us a time of death. What time did this baby die? Because it's very obvious, and I'm sorry, I'll go back up to get to some of you guys' questions. Queen got me on one right now. Thank you, Queen, that's a good question. But I just shut up, Jasmine. And I'm like, thank you, Queen. I felt like I sound like such and such. But anyway, so we don't know how long she was in there. Prime example, we don't know what Kenneka was doing from 2 o'clock to 3:25 when we first see her on camera. Who was she with? Why is it that from 3:25 to 3:27 or 3:25 for these 7 minutes, we see all this busybody, but you can't show me no kind of busybody from 2 o'clock to 3:25? And they clearly said that at 2 o'clock, this is what her friends are saying anyway, that she was already missing by 2 o'clock. So if you run it all back and try to make sense of it, basically the whole rundown is Kenneka arrived between 1:13 and 1:15. by 1:13, 1:15, Kenneka's coming through the lobbies. By 2 o'clock, your friend is under the influence, highly under the influence, and already missing. From 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you guys supposedly ran around this building looking for her. But within 7 minutes, we see her on 9 different cameras. In 7 minutes, we see you guys cross her path a few times and nobody could find her. Okay. So by 3:25, by 3:27, 3:28, 3:29, in our mind, we're like, damn, she's dead. But she's really not. We don't, or we don't. Let me not say she's really not, because I don't know. But from 3:27 to the time they found her body, we don't know what was going on. We don't know if, Kenneka was being tortured in that kitchen area for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. We don't know if somebody had her ducked off and was hiding her and had her mouth duct taped and she couldn't yell, she couldn't scream. These are just opinions. Don't run with what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm just saying that anything could have been happening. They could have, for all we don't know, because they haven't given us those answers. And I think that's where Teresa's frustration comes in so much, because for people who are thinking with common sense, it's like, well, damn, excuse my language, I don't even know what time the baby died. So everybody is like, well, rigor mortis had already kicked in, and she would have had to been stiffer. She would have had to been stiff than a brick, and and they couldn't have been able to put her down on the stretcher, and they couldn't have did this, and they couldn't have did that. We don't know. We don't know if that girl was only gone for an hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm gonna tell you what broke my heart the most was when I saw the video of Irene, Lenora, Teresa, and they had about 6 or 7 people with them, and they were sitting in the lobby talking to the police. And I kept thinking in my mind, how does this woman feel now, looking at this footage and thinking to herself, my baby was probably alive and gasping for air or trying to get out of a damn freezer while we're in the lobby lollygagging with the police. Can you imagine how that feels? Like, I'm looking at the video like, damn, like Kenneka was probably alive. Like, she was probably alive. Like, if they said it was an accident, she was probably alive. And they just walking around the lobby, talking to the police lollygagging around. They all sitting there trying to figure out what's going on. And if it was an accident, then she was still alive. That's like, if you're telling me that this was an accident, then that baby was still in that freezer gasping for air trying to get out. If not, then the first question is, how long does it take? And I tried to Google this information, but I just kept getting all kind of different answers. I couldn't get a solid response, but I kept trying to research, how long can a person sit in a freezer before hypothermia kicks in? And some people were saying, oh, it could take a couple of hours, after 3 hours. Somebody said 3 hours, then somebody said, well, it depends on your body weight. It depends on what you're wearing. It depends on a couple of different factors that would be able to dictate the time. But then in my mind, I keep thinking about the movie Frozen or Alive. Has anybody seen the movie Alive? Hi Mookie, hi Rev, hi Nicole, hi Elle, Farmer, hi Marcus, hi Boz. Boz, you when you try to call me, I always try to put you on the panel, but you're calling my personal hangout. You're not calling the hangout that puts you into the room. So that's why whenever I answer and I'm live, I hang up. Hi Cupid, hi Court, hi Latasha. Yeah, so back to the movie. All I keep thinking in my mind is about that movie. Like, these people lived for a long time. Not all of them died. And they were up there in the Arctic, taking off their clothes, burning their clothes for heat. Yeah, they were, eating the other dead people to survive for the nutrition and, whatever the case may be. But they were out there for so long. Kenneka didn't have to go through all that. But I'm thinking in my mind, how is it that somebody can be in a vicinity that is 20, 30 times colder than the situation that Kenneka was in, and they survived for this amount of time, or for however long they survived. But you have this girl who's in this freezer for 21 hours, and we don't even know if she was in there for 21 hours. So I need them to explain to me, how long was she in the freezer? At what time, based off of your examination, what time do you suspect that she entered into the freezer, so that you can give us a time? Well, she looks like she was in there for 4 hours. Okay. It looks like she was in there for 3 hours. Okay. But you know why they don't want to give the time? They don't want to provide the time because in order to provide the time, then we're able to really break down the shit that they're giving us. Okay, well, this doesn't make sense. Okay, so you're telling me that at 3:25 she came out the room, or 3:25, if we see her downstairs, we'll say she came out of the room at 3:23. So at 3:23, I would assume that she would have came out that room. Takes her a couple of minutes to get downstairs on the elevator. She gets on the elevator, she goes all the way downstairs, and now we start seeing her bounce from one camera to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. But nobody is showing any footage between 2 o'clock and 3:25. And clearly, her friends are saying that she was missing at 2 o'clock. Now, some are not corresponding with the others, and they're saying that they left the room around 3:15, and Kenneka was still in the room. So which one is it? Because based off of the 911 call of this anonymous person, whether it was Monifa, Irene, or Shamaya, somebody stated that she went missing at 2 o'clock. It sounded like you were very specific and detailed about the time that you gave. At 2 o'clock is when my friend went missing from the Crowne Plaza Hotel. So I'm rocking with the 2 o'clock. So if at 2 she was missing, where the hell was she on any of these cameras from 2 to 3:25? And then from 3:25 to whatever time it was that you found the body, what time did she walk into the freezer? Then we can start to close in on the other questions. But they're not going to provide that information to us because it would open up way too many questions, and they would have to answer way too many. It would open up way too many questions, and they would have to provide way too many answers. Cupid said, there are statements on the autopsy under the respiratory section about the preliminary. Will you hit me with another word? Whatever. That could suggest strangulation. Yeah, Cupid, that's what but even still, even with this file that you guys are looking at right now on the screen, this one phrase right here clearly talks, this right here, I don't care how you put it in, I wouldn't care if you typed it incorrectly and you left out an S, it's going to automatically correct this phrase for you, and the first definition that you're going to get is collapsed lung. You can even take that same word and put it into YouTube. And if you put it into YouTube, the first thing you're going to get is doctors who are talking about a collapsed lung. So my question is, why? Like, I think they felt like, well, we can throw this information out to them. Nobody will catch it. Just throw it out, or throw it out and hurry up and close the case. Then we don't have to worry about answering these questions. We don't, especially to us anyway. I can't say if Teresa's not getting the answers, but they don't owe us any explanations. They really don't. At the end of the day, the only way they're going to be forced to give us any explanations is if we go ahead and we, do the Freedom Act and we get this information. But that's what I mean by, so what are we as the people going to do for justice? Because we can't sit back and Teresa, not saying that Teresa's not doing it, but we're the ones who want the answers. And at the end of the day, the mama don't owe us nothing. But if we're so adamant about getting justice, there are steps and avenues that we can take to provide this information for ourselves. There are steps and avenues that we can take to get these answers for ourselves. People instantly say, well, they can't tell you that. Or, who are you for them to answer those questions? Well, there's paperwork and there's some reports that you can submit that will make them have to open this case information up to you. And those are the steps that we are going to start taking. We have already started taking some necessary steps, but at this point now, it's more of a, I feel like now, and I'm probably going to lose followers. People aren't going to want to listen because it's not messy and it's not the latest tea and the juice up in the juice and the gossip and, the ruckus, the negative part of the case. You know, I choose not to focus on that, but I feel like now the shift of my room is going to be about the flaws that we see, the errors and the questions that we have, and how can we go about getting those questions, and how can we go about getting those questions answered, and how can we go about filling out the correct documentation and getting them to really reopen the case. I can't say if them other people on YouTube are wrong or right. I'm only going off of what I see that's in front of me, and then I do the research on it, and it leads me to believe what I believe. You know, at the end of the day, hey, they do their research, they believe what they want to believe. But I feel like if we're here to get justice for Kenneka, I'm just saying, God forbid something happened to me and I die, and my mom had to deal with people digging in her closet and, you know, oh, your mom was a murderer, and how come I never seen pictures of her carrying, you know, being pregnant with you? And shit, I'm 35 years old. I ain't even seen no picture of my mama pregnant with me. You understand? Our pictures is somewhere in a box in a storage somewhere, and that's where they stay. And our family feels like when y'all get old enough and y'all want to go get these pictures, y'all go get these pictures, and you're more than welcome to look at them. I haven't even seen pictures of my own mama carrying me when she was pregnant. I'm 35. I think, and you know, call it dysfunctional, call it what you want to call it. I used to be like, my family is hella dysfunctional, because I'm just saying, I don't even, I'm like, damn, like, wait a minute, I think I only seen one baby picture of me. Hold on, wait a minute, like, wait a minute. Like, little bitty baby, I've only seen one picture of me. No lie to you guys. Like, and I know I'm not fucking adopted. I know my mama is my mama. That I know for a fact. You understand? But I'm just telling you that people take certain things and run with it. Not all families, you know, I'm sorry, I don't have a Gigi or a grandma. My grandmother and great grandmother have been gone. Those are usually households that you go to where you will walk in and you will see pictures of you as a little kid, and your mother pregnant with you and holding you, and grandma got you, and birthday and Christmases and all this extra stuff. Do I remember growing up with them? Yeah, I do. I remember all the memories. But I don't, you're not going to walk into my mom's house and she has pictures of her being pregnant with me and I'm 35 years old. Like, and it's just not going to happen. It's common for everybody. So for us to demand pictures of her being pregnant with Kenneka, or birth certificates, or you know, another one that I wanted to speak on is a death certificate. You cannot Google a death certificate. I'm going to highlight your question so I can get to it, because I see that you added me. You cannot Google a death certificate. When my dad died, and like I tell you guys all the time, my dad played professional baseball. So when somebody dies and you have a lot of, you have an estate, when you die, you have to get a death certificate for each and every company that you need to notify. So we had to get one for the bank. We had to get one for the credit card companies. We had to get one for the cars. We had to get one for the house. We had to get one for, you know, for MLB. We had to get one for each and every individual that we needed to send, because they want a original copy of the death certificate. When you first die, only provides you with one copy, and the only way you can get that one copy is to prove that you are responsible for the person who passed estate, or you are a parent. You can't even get it if you are a sister. You can't get it if you are the fiance. You can't get it if you are it. Listen, the only reason I am able to apply for and get my fiance's death certificate is because the funeral home who buried him, they put me on the death certificate because I was the responsible party for his burial. I was the person who was responsible for everything that pertained to him. Not even his mother's on this paperwork. Can she get it? Yeah, she's the mother. She can apply for it and send for it. It doesn't mean they're going to automatically send her a copy, but are they automatically going to send me a copy? No, still got to apply for it and send off for it. You cannot Google disinformation. The same way you can't Google a birth certificate. A death certificate comes from vital statistics. If anybody has ever applied to get your birth certificate, you will see the shit that they send you through now. I lost my birth certificate, and it took me forever to get my new birth certificate because I didn't have my ID. So I lost my ID, which is why I needed my birth certificate. They wanted me to have my original birth certificate, but in order to get the original birth certificate, I had to have ID, and you had to get this paper notarized. Well, I didn't have an ID, so then it's all these other forms that you can get, and it's not as easy as people think. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, I lost your question. No, I didn't. Ha, Shanika, I highlighted your question. So that, in a nutshell, when you guys see that on Facebook, just please don't listen to that. Shanika said at Fact Check TV, my question is, did the report ever say what was the severity of her hypothermia, meaning mild, moderate, or severe? No, it just said hypothermia. And I know people keep speaking on the paradoxical hypothermia, but that was never put in the obituary. I mean, in the autopsy. That is something that a news article had posted the autopsy and basically was posting what the findings were from the ME. And the article was basically saying how people were still debating with what they saw because the information still wasn't making any sense, and it raised more questions about her clothing and how her clothing were, how the clothing were laying on her body. And the news article used the word paradoxical hypothermia. That didn't come from any medical examination that I saw. If you guys have it, send it to me. But that's not something that the doctor, that the ME said. That's something that somebody in the news article said. But no, Shanika, they didn't say. To my knowledge, they didn't say if it was mild, moderate, or severe. I don't ever remember any one of those phrases being placed before or after hypothermia when I was reading over the paperwork. Keith said, Jasmine, right, that is so wrong. Like, my mom has 6 kids and not near one of us has a baby picture. Yeah, I have one picture and it's so ugly, and my hair was like ridiculous, and I was in this Puma outfit that was black and white, and that's the one pic. That's, I like, not even being funny with you guys, that's the only picture that I've seen of me as a baby. Now, yeah, I have pictures when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but if you were to add me on Facebook, none of those pictures are on my Facebook page. You go to my mom's Facebook page, none of those pictures are on her Facebook page. Does she have them in an album? Yeah. Is it for Facebook? No, it's not. Anita said belly ring was given to Tereasa immediately after reviewing the body, so maybe the coroners don't think piercing unless there is an actual ring. They don't consider it a piercing unless there is an actual ring. I am trying to think about that. See, I still haven't got an autopsy report from my fiance, but he had that same piercing that Kenneka had. Or no, let me not say the same piercing that Kenneka had, but he had a piercing in his cheek, the one that goes in your skin. He had one of those, and I haven't been able to see the autopsy report to see if they labeled it. But what I can tell you is that they did not release any of that stuff to me at all. At all. Now, they did try to bring me his wallet in an evidence bag at the hospital, and I made them take it back and told them that's considered evidence. Like, no, hell no, I don't want that. Did you do the necessary steps that you were supposed to do with it? And they were like, well, no, there's no reason. No, you don't know if it's no reason. They could have touched his wallet, grabbed his wallet, reached in the wallet, looked in the wallet, take that with you and consider it evidence. So I never touched it. I made them take it back. Rev said it has been said that Mama T wasn't her biological mom, but that doesn't discredit anything. She still loved Kenneka. Girl, I'm so tired of hearing that. I am so over the Kenneka is not her mama. I I was up all night last night. I said, okay, let me try to come up with some. But if y'all look at this, that baby looks just like her mama. She looks just like her mama. They have the same exact eyes. They have the same exact nose. Look at the smile. That is her daughter. You don't I don't have to look at no paperwork. I don't have to look at no paperwork at all. This girl looks just like her mama. Period. That smile, dead on. The teeth, dead on. Nose, dead on. Eyes, dead on. That is her mama's twin. Like, I literally sometimes sit up and I get so overwhelmed because I feel like I'm trying to debunk every damn body. And I'm like, okay, well, let me try to focus on this one. Okay, well, let me wait. Then I start realizing I'm jumping from one thing to the next and I'm finishing the next task. And I'm like, shit, Jasmine, like, okay, go to bed. Like, thank you, Nay. That she looks just like her mom. So it's like, it's sad that these are the things that people are coming up with, and these are this your ammo. She lived in Atlanta with her cousin, and she moved to Chicago with Teresa. But I would like to say that Teresa and Lenora are not related to Kenneka. What does that have to do with anything? My stepdad came into my life when I was 3 years old. That man loved me more than, I feel like he loved me more than he loved his own kids. You understand what I'm saying to you? My stepdad left this world disowning all of his biological children from his will. The only name that's in that will is mine. I'm the only one. I didn't even know any of this until after he had died and we did the will reading. And that man was my stepfather. There was not a near piece of blood that brought us together as family. But when it came to love, that man loved me like like I was his own. And I loved him like he was my daddy. I will call him daddy faster than I will call my biological daddy. So even if they weren't connected by blood, how does that equal she killed this girl? How? And for people like that, I almost want to say, I really feel bad for you if you ever fall in love with a woman who has kids outside of your kids that she has with you. I feel bad because what you're telling the world is that you could never love a child that you didn't bear. What you're telling me is that you could never meet a woman who has kids outside of kids with you two, and you consider this child your own, and you love and protect this child as if it was your own. See, that's a red flag for me, women. Be careful. He might be attractive. He ain't to me. He might be attractive, but be careful when you come across men like that, because even if they weren't blood, what is that? Why would that make her want to kill this child? And then the stories that we're bringing up are stories that go all the way back to when she was a baby. Well, now all of a sudden, you know, her strong role male role models died when she was little, and it's a plot and plan that her brother went to jail. And if her dad and them wouldn't be dead, then Kenneka would still be alive because she needed those strong male role models in her life. Do you know how many little girls will be dead or killed or in a freezer somewhere if because their dads aren't in their life? Like, oh, it's so frustrating. Anyway, let me just shut up. Um, Zia said, we never know if a photo album got stolen, lost, destroyed, anything could have happened. That means nothing. Shaking my head. People are ridiculous. Zia, I'm with you all the time. You already know. I know you know. Latasha, somebody was watching that girl. They might as well fess up how she walked the halls all that time. She better get the FBI. Yes. I'm telling you, I think that guys, I'm telling you, this man, he bothers me. He really doesn't sit right with me. I'm waiting for the video to come up, but I'll go on until it comes up. Oh, here it goes. This video really bothers me. Now, let me show you. So you see down here, okay. So down here would be Hold on, I saw it. Let's just go to this. Okay, there it goes. I'm gonna download it so we can look at it together. Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay, so this is the end of this. Okay, this and this is what the beginning of this hall looks like over here. I hate that I forget that I'm talking to you guys and you can't see my finger because I be pointing at the screen. Don't laugh, but keep your questions because I don't want to lose you guys' questions because I know you have valid points. Okay, so this is the end of this hallway. Now, what bothers me about this is, and I talked about this the other day, but I think I got sidetracked and we really didn't get to go through it. Now, what I noticed about this particular piece of footage is all the other footage, oh Lord, come get me when drama starts later. Ain't gonna be no drama. Today's a peaceful day. I'm trying to be peaceful, John. But you see how she just pops up? This one footage, whenever I try to put it into my Adobe video editor, what I try to do for you guys is I wanted to zoom in on the back end. So I wanted to take this video and push it forward so we can see what's going on back here. And it was more on the lines of being able to prove to everybody that they weren't carrying a body. So the good part about it is that I saw that the video already went out and people have already debunked they're not carrying a body. So I'm glad that people were able to see that. Now, for some reason, when I put this video and I put it into the video editor, it chops the video. That concerns me. And I feel like if out of all the videos I looked for, if it's not one that really bothers me, it's this particular footage. Now I'm pause it right here because this is the point I'm trying to make to you guys. Is this particular, John said, but Jazz, it's been 2 days. We have a lot to talk about. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this one positive, and then when I finish doing this one, I'll log off, and then I will rename my page to something different because we're gonna stay positive on this one. Everybody's texting me right now, like the panel. I'll have a panel after this conversation. All of my viewers are like, Jasmine, no panel right now. So we're gonna keep it peaceful. I'm gonna open the panel for people who have questions just about the case. Yes, Carla. Yes, I just read your comment. Carla said, is that the one where he stays behind the wall? Yes. Now, the reason it bothers, at first I was like, well, maybe he was waiting for something or what? But then as I was looking through the videos, I went back through the videos and I pulled this one up. So I'm like, okay, so this is the end of the hallway. This is what we see. So down there, this is the other end of the hallway. I'm like, okay, so it's open. So I get that. Okay, all right. So, which tells me that down here, he should have passed the pillar. Well, he didn't pass the pillar. Trey said no panel. Okay. I love you more, John. Zia said no panel. Okay, no panel. So I'll do a panel later. No panel right now. So he would have crossed over here. If you see my mouse, okay. He would have walked back and he would have crossed over. That's what he should have done. Well, he walked by as if he was getting ready to cross over, then he double backed behind the pillar. Then about 30 minutes later, Monifa and them come. Monifa goes over there. She passes the pillar, but she stays where we can see her. Shemaya comes this way, turns around, goes back, and then they turn around and come back. Only reason I don't feel comfortable about this individual is because I understand that there was a big difference in time gap to our eyes based off of the times that he came and Kenneka came. It was almost like an hour apart sometimes, but I think what doesn't make sense to me is how is it that this individual I think what bothers me is that he's in every frame, or he's in every camera area. So every area she's in, he's in. Why? And who is this individual? Have you spoken to this individual? Did you guys interrogate this individual? Or did he never just come up as suspicious because of the time difference? And then there was something else that, oh Jesus, John made me lose my train of thought. He made me lose it. I had it. And it was a point that I needed to bring up. It'll come back to me. But that particular footage it really bothers me. And whenever I try to put it into my Adobe editor I wanted to cut out the extra time, like the time that I didn't need. It's like a 9-hour footage. So I only wanted the time from Kenneka to the time Monifa and them came, and it will not let me chop that video down. It won't let me chop it because as soon as I drop it into my Adobe editor, it slows down the film as if it's going frame by frame. And it's very weird. So it won't let me do what I need to do with this video. And it bothers me because it's like, okay, and even how everybody else walks into the footage. That's what I love. Carly, you just helped me remember what it was. What bothers me is, another thing that bothers me is the fact that they always make it seem like when Kenneka's coming into the film or leaving out of the film, oh, she disappeared or she popped up because it's motion censored. But it doesn't seem motion censored for anybody else. It's like when they show them coming into the camera. Like they don't just pop up like Kenneka. Like Kenneka always pops in. Yeah, jamming, like she always just pops. Like if I pull up any footage that has her in it, she's just gonna boop, pop, appear. Everybody else walks into the camera. Like it's like if you look at this, that man ain't in this film. That man is not on this camera. That man was nowhere near this camera when he hit the corner, and we see him. The camera didn't just cut off when he walked out of the camera. That man didn't just pop into the camera. He comes. He gets to mess around with the vacuum cleaner. He gets to walk around a corner. The camera's still recording. He comes back into the film. But whenever it's Kenneka, it's like, oh, we only get this little bit of footage because the cameras are motion censored. So that's why we don't have full footage on her. Or that's why she just disappeared. Or that's why, look, he's gone. The camera's still on. The time doesn't jump. It's 0:36. He walks out of the camera. It's still 0:36. There's no movement on this film. I don't understand why is it that it's always a big gap of time when it's dealing with nobody's there. 57. She comes around a corner. It's like nobody's there. It's 58. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand where they show everybody else walking into the camera, moving around. But when it's Kenneka, it jumps. Like Kenneka comes in. It's 3:26. The time jumped. It jumped by like 30 seconds. And the lady walks in. Why? Like why? Why is it that it always jumps when it's Kenneka? It's a slice of footage that I'm not necessarily saying is gone, but it doesn't make sense to me when I'm looking at the footage. She walks, she cuts off. It's 3:29. It jumps to 3:58. You just saw her walk into the camera. But why is it that we can see her, use her again? I hope it goes back to, okay, pause. Do you see how we see her walk in from there? We saw her come all the way from here. She came from behind the pillar and she walks in. Well, we know where she's coming from. When you look at the other footage, she's coming from the door that's over there. So these are the elevators, the door is over there. She's coming from around this corner. We see her walk and hit the corner. But if we take it back to Kenneka, pops in right there. Why is it that she doesn't get picked up till right here, but everybody else gets picked up from coming right here? Like, do you guys understand what I'm saying, or am I just not making any sense about that at all? I want to make sure that I'm making sense. If I'm not making sense, then you guys please just bust my bubble, and tell me, Jasmine, that doesn't make any, or tell me, Jasmine, you're wrong, and I'll back away from it. But that bothers me. It's the same thing on this one. Walking, everything's fine, everything's okay, lee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da, he's walking. And then it's like Kenneka jumps from out the wall. Like, what are we missing? Like, there's no movement right here. I don't know. It bothers me. And I think that somebody needs to explain that. Like, yeah, Dr. Oz can give us the medical information, but I need to speak to, I have sent emails to so many. I know that an active investigator is not going to talk to me. So I've reached out to a few retired murder investigators and just asked them, like, I really want to talk to you. You can stay anonymous. I'd love to have you on my panel, or it doesn't even have to be a panel. It could just be me and you. But I would really like to have this discussion because I want to be able to understand or get your opinion based off of somebody who is a retired detective. What do you see when you look at this information? None of them respond back. I sent a message to some attorneys, like, I know that you're not on the case, but because you're a criminal attorney and you've been able to fight cases like this before, what do your eyes tell you? None of them will respond back to me. Like, it's just so many things that are unsaid about this whole situation, that it bothers me. And I feel like we're so distracted. And that's why sometimes it takes me, like, sometimes I'll just go offline for like 2-3 days. Last time I had to go offline for like a whole week because I feel like I get on here, and when I got on here, I kept my mind completely clear of all of the other nonsense. It was just like, basically, the facts that are in front of me is all that I want to hear. But when you're a YouTuber and people send you emails and you have to dig into it, you have no choice but to listen to what the, excuse my language, fuckery is. And sometimes you have to, like, really just step back and allow yourself to breathe and clear your mind, because you'll start to see things and things will start to become distorted to you. But it's like certain things that just stand out, that just bother me so much about the case, or comments that I hear that bother me so much, because I just wish that I could just like I'm not the most informed person. I'm not a professional, by no means necessary, but I think that the only reason I'm so focused on the case is because I really, in real life, have a form of OCD. So certain things that interest me, I will manifest on them. And like, one, that I will start Googling information. I want to know what the terminology is. I want to know how it happened, when it happened, who did it, when they did it, why they did it. Like, so I feel like if people could just get on that mindset to where you don't just allow people to tell you anything, do the information and do the background check on it yourself. I hate when I go in rooms and people are like, You know, like what I was telling you guys earlier. Oh, does anybody have the information on Eugenia Walker? Damn, Google it. Google it, put the information in Google and get the information yourself. It's just like, you know, it's like it's like, I'm not going to call my friend and say, hey, did you read Where the Red Fern Grows? Well, tell me about the book, but I got a library card. Go to the library and get the book yourself. If you're that interested in wanting to know what's in the book, read the book yourself. Because at the end of the day, just because you read the book and you give me your story or tell me what you read, we may come out of the reading this book with two totally different opinions. It's just like when people read the Bible. If we all sit in this room together right now and open the Bible and read the Bible, we are all going to walk away with a different opinion about what that one scripture said. If we all go sit in the church house together and the pastor is saying the same exact thing, guess what? By the time we leave church and get in the car, everybody feels that message is for them, and everybody heard a completely different message. Oh, that message was for me, girl, because, you know, my boyfriend doing this, this, and that. No, girl, my message was for me because my kids is really acting up. Everybody perceives the message different. So instead of asking somebody, like I guess it's kind of like contradicting myself because I have a YouTube page myself, but don't even believe what I say. Check it for yourself. Go, you know, if I say it, double check it. You know how many times I'll say something on here and somebody will send me a message like, oh, Miss Jasmine, it was something that I said one time. And I ain't gonna say it's all the time, but it was something I said on here one time and somebody sent a message and was like, Miss Jasmine, I fact checked that for you and this is actually what it is. And I had to write back and tell them, thank you so much. And listen, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that I am 1,000% right because I'm just like everybody else. I wasn't at that hotel party, thank God. I didn't put her in the freezer, thank God. But as long as I can get, I feel good when I feel like I'm putting people where I feel good when I feel like I'm installing good habits in people. Like people will hit me up with the hashtag fact check, or I'll go in other Facebook rooms regarding Kenneka, and I'll see some of you guys in there, and I'll come across the comment, and people will be like, "Well, what's the link? Well, how did you get that? Did you hashtag fact check it?" And I'll just start laughing, but it's like it's a good behavior. Like I'm not saying to just rock with me and go off of what I'm saying and take what I'm saying and then go run to Facebook and tell the world. Double check my information. If I tell you right now, I feel like her lung was collapsed and you don't sit well with that or you don't understand where I got it from, I gave you the document. So you pull the document up and you do your own research. I read something totally different. And you might send me a message and say, hey, Jasmine, it really doesn't mean that her lungs is collapsed. It collapsed. It means that, you know, it means it collapsed because she drowned or whatever the case may be. And that's fine. But as long as we get on good behaviors where we're starting to fact check the information, then we can start to expose the case and the bullshit. Because people will send me messages all the time like, well, Miss Jasmine, you said that, you know, you feel like it's a cover up. Well, why would or I received an email today from somebody and they said, well, if it's not organ harvesting, why would the hotel cover it up? I don't feel that they cover, or why would they cover for the employee? I do not feel that the hotel is covering for the employee. I do not feel that the hotel is covering because it's a conspiracy. I feel that what happened was there was a whole lot of lack of doing their job that could have stopped this entire situation. The first thing is the security guard went up to the room not once, not twice, not three times, but four times. All four times that you went up to this room, you identified underage kids, you smelt marijuana, and you smelt liquor. At one time, they opened the door and you were able to visibly see in the room, and you were able to see that the room was smoky in a non-smoking room, that people were in this room smoking. So at that very moment, you should have, one, documented the incident, but you did not. Okay. And then he tried to say, well, after three incidents, then we shut the party down. But after three, you have to have proof that there's three incidents, which means you should have notated all three of those incidents. So that third time, or both of those incidents, so that third time that you went up to the room, you had a valid reason to be able to kick them out of the room. You did not do your job. Okay. Then you realized that it was underage kids. You didn't even have to wait the third time. You could have just went and called Rosemont Police Department and had them come and do their job. Okay. It's too many things that they did incorrect. The person at the front desk, you didn't do your job. You have 1,001 kids. Okay, let me not be extra out. You got about 20 to 30 kids who came to this front desk to get their ticket comped for one room. Each person is coming to you to get a ticket comped that's all coming from room 926. You never stopped and thought, okay, wait a minute, this is too many people. Not only is it too many people, but they're all comping their ticket to room 926. It was $250 worth of parking tickets comped to one hotel room. That would leave you to believe that there was something fraudulent going on. That would leave you to believe that there was some type of activity going on in this room that should have been shut down immediately. Do we not understand? It's not a cover up because, oh, the organs and the man and the this and the that. Let me just be real. If it was organ harvesting and the hotel was in on it, and the mayor and whoever else was in it, we would not be looking at Kenneka's body right now. We would not be looking at Kenneka's body laying in a freezer. We would be trying to figure out where this missing baby went, because these billionaires and these millionaires would have done away with the body. They're not going to leave a body in their establishment. That's what they're not going to do. It doesn't, period. Saying that this plot and plan happened so many years ago. If it happened so many years ago, then they should be a damn shame of themselves that they've been planning this plot for years to get all the way down to the game day, and you done messed up and couldn't even get the baby organs. To me, not billionaires. Billionaires ain't gonna do that. But the hotel lacked in so many ways. The front desk let it slide. Security let it slide. The workers who also worked, anybody else who came in and took that same shift or took the shift after, they messed up. Listen, they didn't have their floors secured properly. The freezers weren't locked up. If the kitchen is closed, then there needs to be somebody that patrols through these kitchens to lock these areas, because it could have been a child way smaller than Kenneka who could have got lost, walked out the room, stumbled through the apartment, went into a freezer, closed the door. Okay, so it's too many errors that the hotel did. That is why they do not want to produce what they need to produce or what they are being asked for. That is why they took so long to give the information. That is why they're not coming out with statements. That is why they're not defending themselves, because it's almost like, yeah, we, excuse my language, we fucked up. You fucked up. You know you fucked up, right? Yeah, you fucked up. That's where their cover-up comes in. Rosemont PD's cover-up is completely different than the Crowne Plaza. See, Crowne Plaza don't want to have to pay out. So only obvious that you're going to have to pay out. You're going to have to pay out a whole lot of money, period, point blank. And for anybody sitting in this room who can really sit and say that if my child died in a freezer and you didn't think you was coming out of pocket, if anybody in this room thinks that, you're crazy. You're crazy. You absolutely. Because I'm gonna tell you, if I go into a freezer and I die, and I know that my mama can fight this and live well off for the rest of her motherfucking life, I need you to go fight this case. I need you to bury me, get justice for me, and go get your dough, because they fucked up. Period, point blank. It's too many things. Rosemont's mistake it is October 30th, 2017. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? It is October 30th, 2017. From the first of the year to today, Chicago has lost 500 and some odd people to death. Do you know how easy it is for them to swipe this under the rug and say, oh, well, yeah, it's another little black kid. Like, you know, yeah, no, we're not, we don't even have the manpower to handle this. Has anybody even researched how many police Rosemont has? They have a very small amount of police. They have one police dispatcher. On all 5 911 calls, it was one dispatcher that answered the phone every time. That tells you a lot about this city. It's very small. They don't have the manpower to investigate a little girl's death that consists of over 20 to 30 people who were in a hotel room. That means we have to investigate each and every individual that came through the door, that went into that party at the Crowne Plaza Hotel. That's a whole lot of money. That's a lot of subpoenas. That's a whole lot of that now they not only is there Rosemont involved, now they got to involve Chicago, because now they have to get permission from Chicago to be able to enter into their jurisdiction to hold this investigation. So now they have to go from Rosemont to Chicago every other day to question these 20, 30 people once in one, two, three times a day. It's warrants they have to reach out to. It's gang unit they have to reach out to because these people are gang members. It's a lot of money, guys. And that Rosemont didn't cover it up because they killed her. They cover it up because they can't afford it. You know how much money their city will lose to have to pick this case up? Then they finally realized that out of the 20, 30 people that were in the room, it was 15 people who were involved in this murder. Now that's 15 trials, because they all have the right to have their own independent trial. Okay? And now that's 15 public defenders. The state pays for public defenders. That's a whole lot of money. I think we're so quick to put it in this conspiracy bucket and, oh God, and the Illuminati, and, I can't believe, and Trump said, and Obama said, and it's sitting right there in your damn face. From the beginning of the year to October 30th, they have had close to 600 deaths. That's a whole lot of deaths that they are investigating between the state of Illinois, period. That's a lot. They don't have that manpower. That is where the cover-up comes in. That is where it's like, okay, wait a minute. Now, we can either just say that this was an accident and call it a day and let it go. And then guess what? Some of those people are right to a certain extent, because if Rosemont is coming in and saying, look, we know it's a homicide, but we cannot release this to these people because we're not going to handle this as if it's a homicide case, then yeah, you're right. The coroner's going to have to fudge some paperwork. The coroner going to have to throw in some loopholes, or you know what? The coroner might have said, I don't even want no parts of this. We're going to put this information out there the way that it looks, and we're going to let these people eat it up. And it looks like that's what the coroner may have done, because this one document, they could have left out altogether. They didn't. This document should have never been placed in this case file, period. It should have never been put in there. It should have been shredded, deleted, burned. It's almost like the coroner was like, listen, we're going to give y'all this paperwork. The police don't know what to do with it. They don't know what should and shouldn't be in there. They're not MEs. They're police officers, two totally different fields. The coroner like, we don't want no parts of this shit. Listen, the world is looking. People are looking. They are breaking shit down. Y'all submit that paperwork to them and let them put that in there and let the police deal with this. Let the police deal with all this crookedness. That's what it looks like to me. I don't think the coroner came in and hid a bag and stuck it under his jacket and looked up at the cameras. And I mean, if that's all a part of the conspiracy, then it would automatically be a part of the conspiracy to cut. If they're already editing footage that we're looking at with Kenneka, why would they not cut out the edit the footage with the coroner sneaking the bag under his arm? I mean, I'm pretty sure the police had to all be in it, that they, quote unquote, that the coroner removed the camera. I'm sure the police was looking at him when he did it, so they wouldn't say, hey, go remove that so that they don't see that you took the camera. Like, they're just going to leave it like, yeah, oh, yeah, just leave it. They'll never know. No, they're going to clean their whole slate. Unfortunately, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is lack of doing your job. This is lack of wanting to solve a crime because it's a little Black kid that died. This is, and I ain't even gonna say Black kid, because when I look at the statistics in Chicago and the crime rate, it's colors across the board, and I really felt some type of way that I posted the GoFundMe link in the room, and a couple of people donated. Beautiful thing, because we're gonna make this thing pop. And every day I'm going to keep you guys up to date with the GoFundMe account. And every day I'm going to tell you guys what we plan to do with this money when we get to DC. And it's going to be a collective decision across the board. We are all going to make this decision together on what we feel we should do, because it ain't my money. It's our money collectively. So we are going to decide what we're going to do with this money. But I was really offended that I posted this link on one of the videos, and the response I got after I closed my live was, oh, I was all in until you said this is for kids of all race. Because if this was little Becky, there would have been an Amber Alert. So because of that, I'm not donating to your GoFundMe unless it's just for Black kids. What? You know what? I don't even want your money. Like, I don't even want you to donate. I don't want that type of money touching the good money. Like, and all I could say was, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. No problem. But you don't want to donate because I said all kids and not Black kids. I'm trying to save all kids. I don't see color. Listen, I don't see color. All I see is a child. That's all I see. All I know is, one of my admins from my Facebook group called me the other day. And she was just calling. She was like, what you doing, Jasmine? And I was like, girl, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what we're going to do with this money that everybody's donating. Like, how are we exactly going to, allocate it to be able to make sure that it effectively helps whatever needs to go on in DC. And she was like, well, what do you think we should do? I said, personally, my personal opinion is, I feel like this movement started for the justice of Kenneka. But I feel like we also need to bring attention and awareness to the other kids who have just popped up missing or dead out of Chicago. And so let's just get a team of people to reach out and do some investigation work on kids whose lives have been silenced, and there was no investigation and there was no justice behind it. Let's reach out to their families and see if it's okay if we can put their face on a t-shirt, and we get t-shirts made for DC, and we have people wear these t-shirts with these kids' faces on it. Kenneka's not the only one. It's hundreds and thousands of kids that are just silenced. One gunshot. One little girl was found in a trash can, balled up. And the police words were, we don't want to speculate what happened. I don't know, honey. She said, where's my moderators? I think my moderators are just so used to me coming on late. Everybody's so used to me coming on late. So I probably don't even have any moderators right now, but it's thousands of kids. Like, if we're going to DC, you wear their face on your shirt and you show them that it's not just one. Kenneka brought us here, but listen, it's a whole lot of families who are out there hurt because they loved ones just boop, ended up dead, boop, disappeared. And it's because Illinois' police are not policing. They're scared to. The crime rate is so high. These young guys and these girls drive around with guns and all these money, and they do drugs 24 hours a day. And the best way for me to put it is, the police officer, he wakes up in the morning with his family, he looks at his kids and he looks at his wife, and this is because I don't want it to sound like I'm bashing the police, because I'm not, but they wake up in the morning and they look at their families, their wives, their kids, and they say, I want to come home tonight. Like, I want to see my family tonight. And they feel that the solution, or the way that they can guarantee that they get home tonight, is to not police. Don't pull that car over. That car got 5 Black kids in it. They probably all got guns. We don't know if they're trigger happy or not. Let them keep riding. 5 minutes later, you hear gunshots. Now it's 2 little kids dead on the street. They had one guy in the privacy of his own home. They hear a gunshot. They go running. They're looking for the gunshot. This man is shot in his house. He ain't doing nothing but minding his business. But if we don't stand up and show Chicago that we care, and show Tereasa that we care, then nothing is going to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And what people don't realize is that Kenneka brought awareness. A lot of us were sleeping on what's going on in Chicago. I knew that they had a bad crime rate, but I never really took the time to look into what's going on out there, and how these kids are living, and what they're doing, and where they're coming from, and the struggle. It's just kind of like, yeah, well, I mean, I'm from LA. I mean, what do you want me to do about Chicago? I'm all the way in LA. Like, no, we have to let them know that we care, and we have to let them know that if we dig into the Kenneka case the right way, and we find this information, and we expose these people for the shit that they have done with this little kid, what we are telling Illinois police is, we are watching you. That's the best that we can do. For the people who are not in Chicago, and for those of us that don't have millions of dollars to donate to organizations, and for those of us who ain't trying to relocate our lives and go out there and start some type of nonprofit organization, the best way to help Chicago is to continue to dig through the Kenneka case and expose their police department, because then they will know they are watching us. They are looking. Hey, put your gloves on. Make sure that no, that's evidence. Don't give that to them. No, they can't come on the crime scene. Did you complete your paperwork correctly? Hey, make sure you get your paperwork done. Did you dot your I's and cross your T's? You did? Okay. Because you know what happened last time with that Kenneka case, right? That's what's going to start. That's the mentality that they're going to have. That's the example they're going to start using with each other. We don't want what happened with Kenneka to happen again, so make sure that you do this crime scene the correct way. Make sure that you listen. Now it's going to bring awareness to the hotels and to the places where these kids go party, bowling alleys, whatever it is, parks, anywhere that these kids now function. People are going to make sure that they're doing their jobs correctly. And if they don't do their job correctly, then you're going to be out of a job. That is the awareness that Kenneka has brought to us. And by us continuing to do what we're doing, we are now bringing awareness to the police departments out there and all around the world, and letting them know that we are watching. We're watching, we're looking, and we understand these terminologies and how to read these damn papers, so don't just shove anything down our throat. JJ Sanders said, that's right thing to do. Keep our eyes on everything they do and call them on their carpet for it. I think you would, did you mean to call them on their shit? That's what you were saying. That's what you were saying. Queen said, yes, she has brought awareness for sure. Absolutely. I'll go back up because I know I missed some stuff. Marie said, oh, fact check. Right. I bit my lip on that. Miss said, I think Rosemont just was negligent and unprepared from the jump. And by the time they realized they messed up, they weren't going to be able to sweep it under the rug. They just had to go along. Exactly. Thank you, Nine. Isha said, in Colorado, they have people who get lost while skiing or die in an avalanche. Kids in Minnesota who fall in frozen ponds, etc. So the times vary between instantly to hours to just being in zero below. So you're talking about the time, like how long it would take. I think that's probably what we're going to have to start looking into, is the time. Like, how long would it take for somebody to enter into a freezer, 19-year-old girl enter into like I'm trying, like, I don't even know who I could even begin to call. The case is so big and people know about it that now when I call coroners, if I call a coroner in Tennessee, they're like, yeah, you might want to call the person that did that, because we don't want to answer that question. Like, they're so aware now that people don't even want to include themselves into it. Like in the beginning, when we were calling the coroner's office, they would give me answers. Like, they would talk to me. Now, it doesn't matter what coroner's office I call. They automatically, the moment I say, well, I'm calling and you didn't do the autopsy, I'm calling regarding another autopsy report, but I just had a question, they instantly do not want to answer none of those questions. They refer me back to Rosemont, which is the person who did the coroner's report. But that's why I keep trying to reach out to somebody who is in the field, or somebody who's a retired mortician, yeah, a retired ME or coroner, to ask these questions, because So 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so who said that? Brian. So Brian said, hi, Carissa. Brian said 4 to 6 hours. I don't know, Keith. I have to, I'm going to check on that so that I can make sure that we're all tuned in tomorrow. But let's just say it takes 4 to 6 hours if unconscious. So that basically what you're saying, Brian, is if she was to step into that, I mean, if somebody put her in the freezer and she was unconscious, she's sitting there, it could take 4 to 6 hours because she's there. There's no body heat. So, I mean, there's no way for her to gain body heat. So, you know, she's not moving around. That's going to keep your body kind of warm. You know, you're moving around, you're beating on the walls, you're, you know, under the doorknob, you're going from door to door. So that would be 4 to 6 hours if she was unconscious. But if you're actively moving around, we'll just say it's like 8 hours. Like 8 hours for you to sit in there before hypothermia starts to kick in. Now, my second question is this. Did anybody ever think about this? So I'm gonna pull it up. Maybe if I look at it, my mind, maybe if I look at it, my opinion will change about what I'm getting ready to say. Okay. No, my opinion didn't change. Anita said, Jasmine, you can call and state you're a student for university and doing a project and deaths caused by the hypothermia, and what are the timelines? Do mention the glaciers and then in comparison. Miss said there's no way she was frozen solid. It takes a day or two for a turkey to defrost. JJ said, I think the Tereasa Martin radio interview said a lot. She gave specific pieces of information on people that we should be looking into. She said it loud and clear, very loud and clear, JJ, very loud and clear. Okay, so Brian, tell me this, or anybody in the room, tell me this, or tell me what y'all think about this. Now, they said, now I saw a couple of people who were looking at the doorknob and they were like, I can see it's cracked, and stuff like that doesn't really stand out to me because there's 1,001 reasons why that doorknob could have been cracked, and we can't really verify if that's blood on the knob because it almost looks rusted. It looks like it's rust. It doesn't look like blood to me. I think what people don't realize is that when blood dries, it's not red, it's black. It turns black. So that looks like rust to me that's on that door. So the doorknob being cracked and that brown stuff on the door doesn't really stand out to me at all. Anita told Jasmine I sent her an email about a mortician with 30 years of experience who wants to help. I saw that, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. Somebody else sent me an email about a mortician, and I clicked on it. It was a video, and I clicked on it, and the lady was talking, and I instantly left the video because I could tell by the way she was talking that she did not work for a coroner's office. I could tell by the terminology that she was using, and she was like, and that girl is black. It ain't no black girl here about to be that nappy, and because that's a weave. And I was like, no, and I clicked out, and I think it just completely distracted me. So Bernadette, I do remember getting your email, and I promise you by the time I go to bed tonight, I'm going to respond to your email. But what I was saying to you guys is, now you see this picture, okay? So they're telling me that, or they're telling us that the lights didn't work, right? So the lights in this freezer did not work. But what you're telling me is that now it's either one or two things that you're trying to tell us to happen. You're not off the top, Callie. You're fine. Hi, Callie, baby. So you're telling me that she either opened the first door, walked in because she could see. She grabbed the second door. She realized that she was in another freezer and there was no way out. So she turned around and grabbed the first door and closed it, and then closed the second door, because that's the only way that she's going to be able to get to the second door. Because if the lights don't work, and she walked into this door and closed the first door, and then she felt around in the dark for the second door, because there's not an emergency glow knob on the outside of the door. So when she closes this door, this next door is nothing but a latch. It's not the glow in the dark panic button, push button. Right, Revy, but the glow in the dark knob is only on the inside of the freezer. So this door right here is another latch. The only way, so she goes in here, she closes this door, and she feels around to find the second door. And you go into the second door and close it. So let's go with three different stories. Or you're saying, Revy's saying that there's a glow in the dark knob. So let's say it is a glow in the dark. Then that's even worse, because you're telling me that she knew what the glow in the dark knob was. Because what the police are trying to convince us is that when she got in there and closed the door, she was so inebriated that she didn't realize that all she had to do was push this glow in the dark to get out. So she moved around for a little bit, sat down, and just died of hypothermia. But she couldn't get out this one, but she could push this one to get in. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I hope I'm explaining this right. Sometimes when I get a little frustrated about something I'm looking at, I probably don't explain it as well as I should. But at either way, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, no, Callie, I have never bought it as an accident. I was just, because I was sitting there thinking the other day, like, wait a minute. So the lights were off, which means I walked into a dark room and felt for another door in the dark. But I bypassed this big ass knob that's glowing in the dark. That makes no sense at all. Carla said, on or working. If in the picture of her in there, the lights were clearly on. Watch the video when they find her. You don't see anyone go and get a light bulb. Right. So either way, Carla, what we're trying to say, me and you, is it's bullshit altogether, because you guys are telling us that the lights are off. So you're trying to convince me that she was so drunk that she was able to walk into this freezer and not get out, but she wasn't drunk enough to where she could walk through one freezer and feel for another freezer in the dark. In the dark. In the dark. You told us the lights are off. In the dark. So she bypasses this big ass green knob. And let me see if I can get a picture of the second freezer, or if I could find it in my shenanigans. Okay. So, Revy, can you see this picture? Does it make sense? So this is the second door. That's not a glow knob. That's a handle. It's a handle. The glow knob is only on the inside of the freezer. On the outside door, it's a knob. So she walked in here, closed this door, and in the pitch dark found this knob and pushed it and popped in there and closed it and lay down. That's what they want us to believe. Nah, I'm not believing that. Not at all. Um, what is that? What does that mean? Anyway, here, guys, I'm gonna put the the Google Hangout in there. Today, I strictly want to talk about the Kenneka case. That's it. That's all. I don't want to talk about, I mean, yes, we can bring up theories that other people have brought, but I don't want to focus so much on them versus the Kenneka case. So I will put the Hangout in there. It is somebody that emailed me that I invited to come to the panel. I'm not sure if he's in here. But I'll put it in if you're interested in coming up to the panel and you want to go through some pictures or bring some things to the attention of others, then let's go ahead and talk about it. Mods, there's the link to the Hangout, as well as I will send you guys the information on the GoFundMe for those who want to donate. Again, like I said earlier at the beginning of this chat, we have been able to raise $255. At this point, what we're trying to do is I set the goal for 500. Hopefully we can get that goal. That way we can afford to get some t-shirts made. Again, everything is going to be in honor of you guys, the people that donate. I am trying to do something special for the people that donate, so we can let the world know that you guys also played a part. I'm still thinking, but right now we're debating on either using the money to assist with the things that need to be paid for to be able to make sure that the protest in DC goes well, or we will use that to buy snacks and stuff and to guarantee that people have somewhere to stay and to do some t-shirts with other kids' names on it that we have lost out of Chicago who didn't get justice. So I put the link to the Hangout, and admins, there's the link to the GoFundMe. But anyway, so that doesn't make sense to me, guys. It doesn't make sense. It's not an accident. You know, I think I'm so over I think I get so frustrated with, you know, let me rephrase that. I think that I think that for those other individuals that are doing videos, I think that maybe I don't understand what they're doing, because I think that their focus is more on the motive. So let me say that in defense for them. I think that they're more focused on the motive, and we in this room are more focused on the crime itself. Because it doesn't matter how many times I put it in a bubble and how many times I try to make sense of it. I don't think that the motive is really important to me. It's like the motive on why your friends decided to turn your back on you and put you in this freezer, or why these young men were involved, or, you know, I don't really think that I really focus on the motive, because I don't know her to really focus on the motive. So I like to focus on the crime side of it, the case side of it, like you know, where did they go wrong in the case? Because if we can get this case reopened, then we can definitely, we'll definitely find out the motive and why they decided to do it. I don't know if anybody has the petition. Is Black in here still? I know it's somebody who has the petition that we need to put up, that Lamont is doing. I'm going to try to reach out to Lamont or somebody from the Freedom Fighters to find out exactly what they plan on doing with these signatures. I know that they're having this dispute with Tereasa, but I would love to know if he would allow one of us to take over that petition so that we can get that petition to the correct people. We honestly, or maybe I need to reach out to Andre and see if Lamont will pull those petitions from change.org, so we could take those petitions to DC to show them that the necessary information, and that we have enough signatures that would request for the FBI to step in it. But I sent the petition to you. Did you? Let me check. Bernadette, What email did you send? I mean, what email did you email me at? Did you email me at Jasmine or was it fact check? Keith. Is Keith in here? We had a couple of individuals who did want to jump on the panel to discuss next steps. Thank you. There it goes. I love my admins. They just got it popping. So yes, so please make sure that if you haven't already signed the petition, sign the petition. I will reach out to Andre or Lamont and see if we can pull those signatures to be able to take to DC. But the hangout is in there for anybody who wants to join the hangout. Please feel free to jump in and get off your opinion. Speak on your opinion, whatever you feel it is that happened to Kenneka, or if it's anything that you feel like we're missing or we haven't discussed. If not, and nobody has anything to say, then I won't be on that much longer. But yeah, I'm looking at this and I think it just really baffles me on, and they said that the lights were off. She completely bypassed this glow in the dark knob, but was able to find this. And go in it, which means she was smart enough to notice the glow in the dark knob and to push it, which is why I feel like she did not just, oh, thank you, Chelsea. You're beautiful. Somebody put her in this freezer. Trisha, is it Trisha? Trisha said, Jasmine, I don't know if you paid attention to the lip gloss from this with the silver top. Well, let's pay attention to it. Okay, so try Trish or try Bryson. Last name Bryson. You just asked me the question. Jasmine, I don't know if you paid attention to the lip gloss with the silver top. Tell me what you want me to look at. Or press the Hangouts and come on to the Hangout so that you can explain to us what you want us to see. I just saw Carla said something to me. Carla said, let's say the lights were off in the case. In that case, the knob will not glow. It's activated by light. I'm thinking about what you're saying, Carla. I'm thinking about it. Okay. Wait. Let's say the lights were off in that case. The knob would not glow. It's activated by light. Thank you, Nine. I don't know. Carla, is that something? Do you know that? Like, is that a not trying to fact check you, but like, is that a fact? Because I don't know why that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I would think that if the door was, I would think that the darkness would activate the knob to glow instead of vice versa. The darkness. So you're saying in the dark, in the dark the knob doesn't glow. Is that what you're saying? If the lights were on, if the lights were not on, the knob wouldn't glow, meaning that she wouldn't be able to see the knob. Is that a fact, Carla? Because if that's the case, we need to change that. Like, that would not make any sense to me. You would think that, no, ma'am, it's activated by light. So basically, okay, so So even still, okay, so okay, regardless. So let's leave the glow bulb out. I mean the glow knob out. Let's leave the glow knob out because period point blank, but at the end of the day, they're still saying that it's dark in there. And she was able to go in the freezer, close the first door, but find the second knob in the dark. And the second knob is not glow activated or even has the glow on it. It's a regular silver latch. So she was able to find that in the pitch dark because their exact words were that it was dark. There was no said they didn't say anything about lights being on. I know that there were a couple of people who had or the who was it? The security guard who said that well, no, I'm lying. Maybe that was somebody who was assuming. I think somebody assumed and said that when they opened the door, they could see a light reflect in the freezer at the time that they opened the door. Where did she go? Oh, okay, there you go. So Bryson said, I think it's Monifa's. She was walking around with it in her hand. Well, I'm going to tell you why. Okay, hold on. Let me do one thing at a time. So Carl said, you remember the glow in the dark stars you would put on your ceiling? They only shine after they have been exposed to light. Yeah. Oh, I miss being a kid. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Carla. You're right. Give me just a second, guys. Um, okay. Yeah, so even still, we're all right. We're all right because there's no way in the world that she would be able to get in there. So she walks into the freezer, da da da. She's under the influence, highly under the influence. I'm just picturing how long if I was under the if I was intoxicated to the level that Kenneka was under the influence, I could imagine being in a dark room and trying to get out of it by feeling the door. Like I'm feeling the walls and you're stumbling and you stumble back twice, you come forward, you feel the knob again, you stumble again, you rumble around. And she was just able to walk from one door to the next with, no problems or with problems. But she was smart enough to be able to feel for this additional knob in the dark, but not coherent enough to see this knob. Because Carly, let's just say that it is light activated, that would tell me that then I would assume that it would activate that light the moment she opens the door because it's so much light in the kitchen. So not necessarily the light coming from the freezer, but if she opened the door, the light would activate because the kitchen is lit up, right or wrong. Um, Bryson, I'm gonna get to yours in just a second. Yes, don't let me forget. I got the lip gloss up. I'm not gonna forget. Um, hmm. Ravi said she used her shoe beating on the door to be let out. Possibly. Chelsea said on Monifa's Snapchat video in the elevator with Kenneka, Shemaya, and Bree, Monifa has the lip gloss in her hand. Robert, don't be coming in here retracting messages. What you say, smart Robert? Um, Yeah, but yeah, okay. So push come to shove, though, regardless. Okay, so let's just say that the knob is not activated. That makes it even darker in there. So once she closed that door, because there's you can't they can't convince me that she walked into the first freezer, opened the door to the second freezer, and then turned around and closed the first door and then walked into the second door. That now you're trying to convince us that she committed suicide. Basically, that's what you're trying to tell me, that she committed suicide. And you can't convince me that, as drunk as she was, or as intoxicated as she was, that she went into this first freezer and felt around and found the second knob and got into the second freezer and just closed it. And after a while of being cold or realizing where you at, because the reality of it is, anybody who's under the influence, who sits in a cold environment, you're going to start to sober up. So she starts to become a little coherent, to realize, okay, wait a minute, I'm getting cold. She gets up, she starts feeling, she feels the knob, boop, presses it. Okay, well, the first door was like that. Now she realized she's in the second room, she's feeling around. You start to panic a little bit, because I'd panic like, whoa, wait a minute, what the hell is this? You panic around, you feel some more, you go from wall to wall, you realize that you feel another knob, boop, you get out. That's how I see it broken down. Even if she was to accidentally walk in there and she was drunk and she sat down like, oh, okay, well, let me just relax here for a second. It's cold. You start to come to. Um, Bryson was talking about the lip gloss. Now, the only reason that I feel some type of way about this lip gloss is because I don't know how many of you guys were tuned into the show. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Tuned into the show last week, but we had a surprise caller and it was very weird, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that a little bit. It was really weird because it seemed like a lot of people from Chicago seemed to be on our chat that day, or in our live stream that day. Um, I don't know if my moderators paid attention to it, but it was really weird because this young man, or this guy, he sends me, right before he sends me an email, I'm talking and I see this name pop up in the chat. I don't know if my mods paid attention to it, but because we have investigated the Chicago crime scene so much, the Chicago crime so much, and we've listened to these audio tapes of them talking, you start to realize that Chicago has their own language. So there was the language that the person used in the chat that caught my attention. And the person was like, damn, this shit is really pissing me off, G. So I was reading the comment and it stood out to me because I had Rico and them on the panel, and it was somebody else from Chicago that was on the panel. And I read the comment out loud because the name said Nifa. Keith, are you the person that sent me the email? Keith Dillard? I think so. Um, it's going to be a Hangout link, or mods, can one of you guys drop the link to the Hangout? When they put the link in, you just click on that link. When you click on the link, it should bring you straight to the Google Hangout if you're already logged into your Gmail or your email. So if you click on it, it's going to say join call. You just click join and it'll bring you directly onto the Hangout panel. That's for any of you guys who want to join the panel. And then if you don't want to be seen, you just press your camera and it'll turn your camera off, but we'll still hear your audio. But anyway, so it kind of caught my attention at the language that was used. So as soon as that person said that and I read it out loud, I received an email from an individual and he said, hey, I'm from Chicago. Can you add me into the chat? So of course, it's open panel. So I email him the invitation to join the panel. My Facebook group on YouTube is I'll bring it up. For those of you guys right here, that's the name of my Facebook group. It's Kenneka Jenkins Case. Hashtag fact check. Hashtag justice for Kenneka. So I send him the Hangout link. He jumps on the line and we're talking. And he starts talking about how he personally knows Kenneka. Long story short, in the process of him talking, everybody's kind of like interrupting him. I really want to hear what he had to say because it's always good to speak to somebody who personally knows Kenneka. But that's the conversation where Michi, one of the girls that always gets on the panel, I love Michi to death. Michi had made a comment about the girls prostituting, and he became very. First of all, the moment he jumped on the line, he was defending Monifa. Like he was more on the lines of really mad at P. Rico because he was trying to figure out why P. Rico kept accusing Monifa of being a part of this crime. And so the conversation that they were having, or the argument they were having, was about Monifa. And Michi jumped in and said, well, let's just be real. We know that those girls basically were prostitutes. She didn't even say basically, it was our prostitutes. And the guy immediately spews out his mouth. He immediately spews out of his mouth. So you calling my girlfriend a prostitute? And then he changes it and he says, so you calling them girls prostitutes? Well, he originally said girlfriend. So I kept trying to get them to calm down so I could hear what he had to say. So finally I put all of their microphones on mute and I asked him, I said, okay, so you know Kenneka? And he said, yeah. He said, I know her personally. And I said, okay, great. I said, well, tell me about the friendship that they have between Irene. Tell me about their friendship with Irene and Monifa and them. And he instantly says, oh, I don't know them. They're from they're from a whole other side of town. Okay, so that confirmed to me that what you're telling me is they're from two different gangs then, because just in the time that I've been able to look into Chicago, it looks like every block is a different gang. So that kind of confirmed it to me. So I'm trying to help you guys understand exactly what happened that night, because I know everybody was kind of like, Rico needs to shut the hell up. But so I said, okay. I said, well, let me explain to you why we feel like those girls are guilty. The proof points to them. They all lied. They this, they that. And out of nowhere, he spews out of his mouth. Anybody that knows Kenneka knows that Kenneka carries that lip gloss everywhere she goes. And that really stood out to me. Again, and I stopped him and I said, okay, but what made you talk about the lip gloss? And he got ready to spew again and they started yelling again, but it really stood out, and my antennas went up at the fact that this man, one, jumped on this panel in such defense for Monifa, and the first thing that he brings up to try to get everybody to distract them from what's going on was he brought up the lip gloss. And the lip gloss never really stood out to me because we all talked, we all sitting here and talking. We're like, oh yeah, girls carry 2 lip gloss. That's nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, then I won't dig into the lip gloss. We're going to leave the lip gloss alone. But this man, it was like he was very adamant to get that lip gloss to clear up the scenario or the situation around the lip gloss. No, Purple, but I have his email. He sent me an email address. Because I want that man to come back into this room. And I want him to finish telling me about this personal relationship that he got with Kenneka, because I heard what he said. But he was very adamant to clear up anybody who knows Kenneka carries that lip gloss everywhere she goes. Like what I wanted, like in my mind, I couldn't get them to stop yelling, but my next question was going to be, so that specific lip gloss? Or are you coming onto this panel to defend your girlfriend and you know that that lip gloss is a piece of evidence that she left in that freezer, so you're trying to figure out a way to basically say that that was Kenneka's lip gloss? That's what I took from that conversation or that debate that they were having. That's my walk. That was my takeaway from what he said. And it was really weird because to us, not being from Chicago, we took it as if him and P. Rico everybody was like, oh my God, P. Rico's gangbanging. That's dumb. You're supposed to be a leader. But after the conversation, P. Rico reached out to me and he was like, Jasmine, I want to apologize. I don't want you to feel like I was arguing or yelling or, trying to go at it with this man on your panel. And I don't mean to disrespect your room, he was saying, but I had to do that. I had to throw out those certain areas basically to see how he was going to respond. And he was basically saying like, well, the area that he responded and said that he was from is the same area as the guys who My mom just threw me off. Mom, you can't just come walking in here like that. God, you just distracted me. Hi, Mama J. But yeah, so Rico was saying he had to do it because it was basically like a bait. Like I threw out a certain area, he responded by being from a certain area, and the people that he supposedly said the area that he said he's from is actually, the people that were in the room that night. So it's, but us not being from Chicago, it would be hard for us to put that together. But that conversation really bothered me, and that man jumping on that line, and then it was like back to back to back. People from Chicago were calling in, and I'm starting to feel like on the lines of what Michi was saying. People, I feel like this was some type of, not a gang retaliation, but because it was people there that were involved in gangs and they know what happened. I personally feel like they know what happened. The streets talk, and the streets are talking, and people are trying to clear their names, and they're trying to push the blame on certain people. And it's really weird. It's really weird because I just saw, I fact checked it, and one of Kenneka's cousins or friends just got into a fight with Shamaya, and she was on her Facebook like, yeah, I'm looking for you, Abriana. I'm looking for you, Bree, and now I want to fight you next. And it's because people are talking, and they're starting to hear all of these names, and accusations. So people are now wanting to, people are talking. They're talking. The streets talk. Regardless to what you do, the streets talk. I'll go back and read some comments. Lazy said, but they do make the glow in the dark ones to replace old freezers that don't have them. Online, they're currently on back order. So you're talking about the knobs, Lazy, right? Callie said, I think we have some new friends in the room tonight. While we welcome newcomers, please remember we are all about hashtag fact checking. Questions are welcome. All my moderators are so sweet and they're so nice. Okay, give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Somebody's email that I'm looking for. Hold on. Because I kind of want to go through some of you guys' emails, but I have to go through because some people just send me. Yeah, I'll have to just go through it and grab some bullet points because y'all don't just be sending me little emails. Y'all send me some real super duper detailed down to the T emails that I really, really just have to sit down and print out and highlight. So I'll wait. Mom, she gonna say Jasmine don't know I'm listening, like I can't see her type. Keith said, okay, Keith, did you not figure out how to join the panel? But Keith said, but if the motion camera was working above the freezer, the administrator should have been alerted. That's if their systems were working properly, though, Keith. To them, those certain cameras, and it's really weird that certain cameras that were in that specific area didn't work. Like the dock camera didn't work. I don't know how to feel about the camera over the freezer thing. And I know you guys are probably going to be like, I know everybody's probably going to be like, okay, Jasmine, now you're just debunking everything. But I don't know how to feel about the freezer over the camera over the freezer. Like, I don't know. I would hate to believe that Teresa doesn't know what a camera looks like. So I'm pretty sure she knows what she's talking about. Give me just a second, guys. Okay. Keith said, will you be doing a live of the Dr. Oz episode? I definitely can try to. I will. Yeah, I guess we can do I need to figure out what time it comes on, but yeah, we can definitely do we could do a live of the Dr. Oz so we can all discuss it together if you'd like. Shanika said, fact check, I just tried joining Hangout, but it's not working. We'll try in a few minutes. It's not working? What? Don't say that. Somebody try to join it. Let me test it. Somebody is, hey, Noma Hangout. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Just joking. I don't even like saying that. Tyra said, I think it's Tyra Bradley. Do you know the time of the date that she passed and a date from the autopsy time? No, they didn't release any time of. There's no time of death that was released. That is one of the detailed things that they're missing in the autopsy report that we just discussed a little while ago. April, hi April. April said they logged the lip gloss, but the stuff on a table, and took another picture of the stuff they gave her mom, but only one lip gloss and not the black ponytail holder. Wonder why? Evidence maybe. You know what? I noticed that. I just got quiet because I was just thinking, April. So what April's talking about is this. They never put this. Yeah, what did they do with that? They never listed it here. So they never put it as these items that were turned over. The black scrunchie was left out, but the rubber band, the one that was on her arm, her belly button piercing, and the watch were listed. But they didn't list the black scrunchie. And I don't think they listed it in the evidence report either. Let me check. Mm. I think it would be in here. Somebody just send me a hangout. You would press join. So let me see. Yeah, you would press when you click on it, it should say join. So you would press join if you're trying to get into the hangout. So once you click the link, you'll see it's a small font. Well, when you click on it, it should say join. So you would press join. Okay, so Purple got in. Okay, so it's working. Thank you, Purple. Okay, yeah, it's working. Somebody just joined. One of my mods just joined and then popped off. But yeah, they didn't list it. I got so many damn folders. Like, this is crazy to have this many folders. Let me see. And it's going to be a PDF file, so. Okay, you figured it out. Welcome to the panel. Can you hear me? Okay, you figured it out. Welcome to the panel. Can you hear us, Keith?
Yes.
Well, welcome. What you got for us? You got something to say specifically about the case? Can you hear us? Or can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Give me 1 second. I have to close out my my shift at my job. Okay. 1 second.
Okay. I'm trying to find that document, April, because I really want to check it. Both lip glosses not pictured in items given to her mom either. Yeah, that's kind of weird. You just brought that to my attention. They did leave the black scrunchie out. They only have down as evidence the pink hair top or the pink ponytail holder, the 2 lip gloss. They put the shoe on there or the shoes on there, but they didn't put the black scrunchie.
She listened to this.
Anita said, Jazz mentioned it earlier when I was talking with others about the facial piercing. They didn't record the belly ring either. Possibly Kenneka removed her facial piercing, but also. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility that the face piercing, she just didn't have one. I didn't see it in the picture. In the picture that her and Monifa took in the bathroom. Hi, Revy. Am I saying it right? Can you hear me?
And this is our Larry.
Oh, look at a picture will show that nothing else.
They put the shoe on there or the shoes on there. We have to turn down some of the audio or pause the video. Not pause it, but. Your audio, so you're gonna have to turn down your background.
You didn't thank him for the service, asshole. And the whole night is ruined.
Are you still getting that?
Yes.
Would you like the wrong one?
Okay. I'm sorry. So we're gonna have to, Revy, if you can hear me, you're gonna have to turn your TV down. We can hear your TV really loud. I think she could hear me. Anita said, I think Kenneka removed her piercing a while before her passing, possibly didn't have her piercing too long because in more recent photos, I didn't see any. Yeah, I don't think that that's something that I don't think it was a regular piercing that she kept in. I know a lot of people feel like, I'll move the chat over. A lot of people feel like this is not Kenneka. They feel like Revy, if you can hear me, you got to turn your TV down. I'm sorry, so we're gonna have to, Revy, if you can hear me, you're you're gonna have to turn your TV down. We can hear your TV really loud. Okay, and now you have kickback. So whatever it is that's playing me, pause the YouTube video, and you'll be able to hear me in the Hangout.
Oh, okay. That's one thing I forgot to do.
Yeah, because I can hear the kickback.
Let's see. Okay, hopefully that fixed it.
I believe so. Yeah. Okay, there you go. You on point now. Yeah, people feel like. Say it again.
I'm new to the whole Hangout thing, so I'm sorry.
It's all right. You on point now. We can't hear that your audio's down. You sound perfect. So now you're there. But a lot of people feel like this picture is not Kenneka. And I'm assuming it's because they feel like her face is really narrow and the shape of her body. So I was trying to compare these two.
Yeah. There's the thing with the what you call the photo, the thing you use to touch up your photos or whatever.
Photoshop,
Photoshop, that's what it is, Photoshop. They could have done that with that. I mean, it's certain.
Well, I mean, I think the only dispute that I have, so I noticed last night when I was trying to put some pictures together to be able to discuss the certain opinions that people had about it not being Kenneka. And what I realized when I put these two pictures up, because I use these two, that's Kenneka. That's the same exact jacket that she has on right here.
That
So
one looks shorter. The one in the pic looks shorter though. See, because where it's cut off.
Right, but so what we have to take in consideration is the only reason the jacket looks shorter is because she has it buttoned up.
Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was just thinking that too. I'm like, wait a minute, if she buttons it, it'll be smaller.
Yeah, so because I was looking and I'm like, well, wait, that's the same exact jacket. If you look at the sleeves,
Yeah,
look at the sleeves.
Yeah.
Look at the sleeves over here. The only difference is it looks like the coloring is off because they took a picture of a picture.
Yeah.
So you can tell this picture they used somebody's phone. They're looking at somebody's phone and they took a picture of a picture, so it's going to be discolored a little bit.
Or
But
that's like a reflection off of a mirror, because I see, who is that, Monifa in the background?
Right.
Her. She probably took that picture. Monifa probably took it.
Yeah, because Monifa has the phone in her hand, so not only are they taking a picture through a mirror, and then somebody else took a picture of a picture. And this was in police evidence, so I'm assuming that it was the police that did it. But this jacket is the same exact jacket that Kenneka's wearing on this picture. I mean, there's times if I showed you guys pictures of me,
I'm sitting here, especially her navel right there. You know, the belly ring she had in when she was in the freezer. But the two in those two pictures match, but the one in the freezer doesn't match. The belly button piercing does not match, but it matches in these two pics.
Well, yeah, and you know the only thing about that is you know she could have changed her jewelry out.
Yeah.
Oh well, no. I see what you're saying. You're saying this doesn't match
What was on the body of the freezer?
This one.
Yeah, that piercing. Yeah, those don't match, because that one in her in the mirror is hanging down way too low.
I'm looking at it because I'm trying to.
Because if you was to take and put up that one pic of her laying in the freezer with that with her navel showing, then you'd tell that that's two different.
Somebody said same jacket. Look at the left arm in the standing photo with shorts, but the same rip on the bottom photo. Right.
Yeah.
So it's the same jacket. It's just even if you look at this picture, if you look at the arms and the cut of the jacket where it's shredded
Yeah.
at the top. It's shredded at the top, and you can look over here and you can see, you can tell it's the same exact jacket.
Yeah.
So I just think that people are thrown off because they're looking at her face and they're looking at, for example, her nose and her lips. But if you're face down, all of this is going to, if you're face down and you're either one frozen or
Because your body loses its ability to hold its shape too.
right. So
Yeah, I used to work in a morgue, so that's
yeah,
and that wasn't no. She ain't froze. That's rigor mortis is what that is.
exactly.
They threw ice over her maybe just to kind of chill her out, make it seem like that. Make it seem like she froze, but it wasn't. It was rigor mortis. I could tell it when I saw it. That's not frozen.
No. And that's what I was trying to explain earlier, because one, you can tell when rigor mortis, that's why her hand is stiff like this, but depending on how long she was in the freezer would have told us if they were able to lay her flat.
Yeah, because with rigor mortis, like I said in the chat, you can you can put an injection, a muscle relaxing injection, in her one leg and get it to straighten out because it relaxes the muscles in it.
Correct.
Or they can break it if they have to, because I know sometimes in the morgue I've seen them do that.
Right. And I also wanted to, not jumping off of track, but I also wanted to bring something to everybody's attention, because I know I keep saying this and I don't think anybody really pays attention to it when I say it, but there was another reason for motive that everybody was discussing, which was the brother, and it came to my attention because Renee just put in the box, that's her, she looks exactly like her brother Kenny. So the motive that everybody was coming up with was that the brother killed somebody and that he was in jail or is still in jail.
Yeah.
The brother is not in jail. Then there was another rumor going around that she had a brother that was dead. For any of you guys that listened to the Jedediah response to Tereasa, you will hear the stepfather on the phone call say, basically, he's telling Jedediah, like, well, I don't understand why you guys aren't clearing up any of these crazy rumors that people are putting out about Tereasa. He was like, for example, all of this stuff about her brother being dead. Her brother is not dead. He clearly, he states it on the phone call. The brother's not in jail. The brother Kenny was actually at the funeral as an active pallbearer. Kenneka's brother has been out of jail for months. Kenneka's brother got out of jail before Kenneka died. Kenneka's brother is not in jail. He was in jail, and he is a person he is known to go in and out of jail, but Kenneka's brother was not in jail when Kenneka died, and he was not in jail at the time of the funeral. So again, that's just another piece of rumor that people have come up with or invented.
Yeah, because that was for killing her. That was the setup for killing her to get back at them, I guess. A life for a life type of thing.
Right, which is what
I'm telling you.
Right, which is what everybody was trying to say, but that's not accurate, because he was not in jail. He was an active pallbearer, and he was not an active pallbearer, and he was not on a furlough, which is what they call it, where they release you to go to a funeral from jail, because if that's the case, he would have been transported or escorted by a police officer, and the brother was in the back of the limo with the uncle on the way to the funeral as an active pallbearer. So yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to touch on, but welcome to the room, Andre. Mm-hmm. What, Nancy? I haven't seen Nancy Grace's show. I don't know what time.
Nancy Grace, Lenore, the attorney, and Teresa.
Oh, well, praise God. Mama J just found a picture of Teresa, Lenora, Dr. Oz, and Nancy Grace, and the attorney. So Dr. Oz, when she does the Dr. Oz show, Nancy Grace will be there. That's a blessing. So yes, we definitely have to make sure that we watch that show tomorrow. If anybody has the time or knows what time the show comes on, can we put that? Yeah, Anita.
I think it's like
a,
1 p.m. I think Eastern time. I think that's what I saw in the advertisement earlier.
I will show you guys what I'm talking about so you don't feel like if you go say something about it, they sent it to you.
No, I saw it on a different, somebody else's video had it put up there.
So there's Teresa, Dr. Oz, Nancy Grace, her attorney, and Lenora. So Nancy Grace will be on the show with them tomorrow. So I guess we'll be hearing a lot more than what we've been hearing, you guys. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So she has she has somebody that specializes in criminal cases, and she has a doctor, and I believe that we should get answers. Now the question is, what's going to happen if we get answers that we don't want to hear?
Yeah, that's
How is everybody going to handle this if they come on and say that it was an accident? Are people going to be willing to accept this as an accident if Dr. Oz and Nancy Grace say it was an accident? That's my question.
No, I wouldn't, because they weren't there. They don't know. I wouldn't read too much into it. He did say,
well, yeah,
I wouldn't take his word for it. He wasn't there.
Well, I like Mama J just said, the good part about it is what we got to realize is this show was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So obviously they said something that Teresa was okay with because she did that interview right after. So So maybe they told her that it didn't look right, that it did look like some type of foul play. Oh, I'm praying to Jesus. That's what they say. Oh, I can't wait. I feel like it's Christmas Eve. I'm ready to go to sleep.
Because why is it that that manager had to unlock that freezer to even get to her? Didn't know she had keys and he had to go unlock it. So it had to be somebody locked her in there, because of course she's going to hit a knob that's glowing or anything else.
Exactly.
I think she did freak out while she was in her, if she was alive when she hit the freezer, but I'm not sure she was.
Yeah, I don't believe that she was alive when she was placed in.
Yeah, she was.
I don't believe she was alive when she was placed in the freezer. Bernadette, to your comment, I almost laughed out loud, but I had to hold it. Bernadette said that then we'll investigate their asses. Okay, now, Bernadette, we can't go investigating everybody. We can't put everybody under investigation if we don't hear what we want to hear. But yes, so I will definitely go live before the show. I need to see what time it comes on in my area. And we will go ahead and I will go ahead and make sure that I go live right before the show comes on so that we can discuss it. I'm not sure if anybody else has any other questions that they want to ask and they want to jump on the panel real quick to get it off, to get to express their opinions or any findings. If you guys find anything, please feel free to send it over to me in an email. Tomorrow we are basically going to, the whole show tomorrow will be about the Dr. Oz show, and I will go ahead and filter through my emails and we will discuss the different emails that you guys have sent out to me to be able to pinpoint some stuff. And I'm pretty sure, you know, it's really sad because people will fall off of this case, and the moment something new pops up, everybody and their mom is going to be on Facebook and YouTube talking about it. So I just saw a question. April, yes. I will. I'm either going to go live. I will either go live I'm not guaranteeing that I'll go live during, because I really want to try to focus on it. So I'm probably going to go live as soon as it finishes airing for me. I'm in Las Vegas, so as soon as the show finishes airing for me, I will definitely go live so that we can discuss what we see and what we hear. Again, for those of you guys who have any questions or just need to reach out to me, please feel free to send me an email, because tomorrow I'm going to take my time to go through all of the emails, and we will have an open discussion talking about all of those emails on here. As well as, please, guys, please share the GoFundMe link on your pages. Let people know what we're doing with the GoFundMe. For all of my followers, this is not just money that I am raising. This is us putting our money together to be able to do something that's going to be worthwhile, going to DC. I will be in DC. I hope I get to see at least some of you guys there in DC. If you do plan to go to DC, please make sure that you email me so that I can provide you with my telephone number so that we can link up in DC and do this together. I will keep you guys up to date every day on the amount of money that has been raised. If I don't come on a particular day, don't panic. Again, you guys are able to see the money that's being raised by clicking on the GoFundMe account, as well as I also wanted to touch on something really quick. Somebody did make a comment like, oh, Jasmine, you have ads now. Yes, I said that the other day on my show that I was going to monetize the page to be able to put that money towards the donations. Now, you only get paid if you hit $100 mark. I'm only at $8, guys. So I really don't have that much money on the monetized side to be able to donate forward, but I will be making my own contribution to the GoFundMe account. Even though I'm the one pulling it, I will be making my own contribution. So please make sure that you share the GoFundMe, let them know what we're doing. We're all in this together. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. I love you all. Say your prayers and call me if you need me. Good night, guys.